All right, we're going to start a little intro, just the basics of the Glider Whitebox learning software. So you're going to go to whiteboxlearning.com. In the upper right corner, you're going to click Login. You're going to go down to Gliders. Now, you will be assigned your own student ID number. Coach Wynn or I will give it to you depending on what class you're in. And then your group ID for my class is going to be G1HB. G1HB. And it will log you in to this main screen. So we're going to go through the research. It doesn't matter which one of these you click on first, because once you click on it in the upper corner here, you can always click onto the other one. So it doesn't really matter which one you click at the beginning. We're going to start off with research. You'll actually be going into history. You're going to do a little reading on the Wright brothers and reading on the forces of flight, lift, thrust, drag, and weight, as well as the roll, pitch, and yaw, which you're going to learn a whole lot about on your planes as you build them, especially the parts of an airplane, the vertical and horizontal stabilizers, your wing, your fuselage. So you're going to be learning a whole bunch of that about the science of flight and Newton's laws of motion, inertia, mass force reaction, all of that stuff. So you're going to be kind of looking at that stuff. You'll be taking a little quiz on some of these things. But to get to our engineering part, you're going to click on engineering, and it's going to load up. Let me click off some of these. It takes a little while to load too, by the way. If you're doing this and it takes a while, that's fine. That's pretty normal. Yours will usually come up with just a blank screen. You're going to go to Start you're going to go up here on the corner. You're going to go to File. You're going to go to New. You're going to start from a base design. And it's going to come up and you're going to be like, oh no, where's my plane? There's two very important buttons you want to hit. You want to hit this little button here. That's going to allow you to look at your plane. And then you're going to click on this little button here, Optimization. Your optimization is one of the things you're going to want to leave up the whole time. Because if you leave it up the whole time, it's going to help you, because you want all of these yellow arrows to move as far to the right as possible. To put it in perspective, I'm going to show you my G-Money 24, and you'll be able to see what I mean by having the little arrows as far over to the right as possible. This is what you're looking for. This is what you're trying to do. However, it takes a whole lot of work to get them to be this good. Okay, so I'm just going to start again from the base design. Remember, you always want to click on optimization. You want to click on your vertical model. Now, on the board, it tells you the order of things that you want to work on, which is lift, then roll, then pitch, then yaw. So you want to work on your lift first. And the way you work on your lift, which is this one here says lift, is you're going to work on your wings. So on your wings, you don't really need to click on the arrow on the eyeball. If you want to, you can unclick on this and it will just show you the wing. But you can actually leave this eyeball off. You're going to want to click on the little button on the left, on the little wrench. And this brings up this screen, which is going to allow you to manipulate and move the wing into all different types of shape. And as you see, we are actually making all of these little arrows, and the triangles go left and right and up and down. Okay, but we want to make this, the lift, we want to take care of that first, to go as far to the right as we can. And some of the things you're going to be working with on here is the shape of your wing, right? B-spline or lines. B-spline, I have found B-spline actually works really well. It gives you a little bit better curve on the front, and that curve, now notice my lift went down, but as I'm going to adjust it, it's going to make it go up. So the sanding is also something that you want to take care of. So if I go to heavy sanding, now here's the key part. I've changed it to heavy sanding. I need to come down here and I need to click apply. When I click apply, you'll notice that it really helps with my weight. So my weight actually is coming to the right. And I want to, you might want to play around with the different types of wing angles. All right, this is a dihedral wing. You have an option of a dihedral. You have an option of a tip dihedral. The tip dihedral is just bending one part of your wing, just the outside of your wing, right? You also have the option of going with a polyhedral. Don't forget to click apply after you make any decision here. Okay, so this gives you a wing that actually has two different bends. It has a bend in the middle, right? And it has a bend on the edge. And if I go back to tip dihedral and I click apply, you'll notice that it only bends on the ends. And if you go back to a dihedral and click apply, this is a flat wing. It only has a little bit of an angle here. Okay, so you're going to want to play around with the different size of your wing. I like to do a polyhedral. I found that that works really well for me. And the more I actually make this thing bigger, right, then I'm going to have a whole lot of lift, and I can adjust the different angles of this, and I can pull it down, right? I want to click back on the eyeball and click off of this. Okay, so now you see my lift is starting to move way up, and I want that to move up. So let's say I'm happy with my lift there. I'm going to click done, right? And then the next thing I want to work on is my roll. My roll is also has something to do with my wing. So I click on the wrench again, and this is where I'm going to want to play around with the different parts and sizes of my wing. I need my optimization back up and my model back up. Right, so I'm going to keep on messing around with my wing. I'm going to play around with my degrees of my dihedral. Let's change this. Let's see what happens if I change this to 1 and I hit apply. Okay, now my roll is going down. So maybe I should change this to an 8. Let's see what happens if I change my dihedral angle to an 8. What will happen to my roll? Oh, my roll comes up. So I might want to make this a 10. What if I made this, well, let's go to 12, and I click apply. Oh, my roll is even coming up even more than that. So this is actually really good. So I'm going to keep on messing around with that. Every now and then I want to come up here and I'm going to go click save. I'm going to call this one, I don't know, let's call this Jedi 1. This is my Jedi 1 version. I'm going to click save a working copy. So you want to save it every now and then so you don't lose it. You also need to come out every now and then to go to output. If I go to output, I'm going to click on design specification. And all of these numbers over here need to be in the black. Now this says that my span is actually too wide. It's 302 millimeters. That means my wing is actually, it is actually too wide. My true length is actually too wide. So now I got to make my wing a little bit smaller. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to make my wing a little bit more narrow and let it apply. I'm going to go back to my output. I'm going to check on my design specification. I still need to make it more narrow. I'm going to go back to engineering. I'm going to bring this in a little bit more. Let this gray part turn to white. I'm going to go back to output and click on this. Now I'm all in the black, so my wing is good. I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to go to Save a working copy. So I'm going to continue to do all of this different stuff. Notice my pitch or center of gravity is way off. That has to do with my X offset. My X offset is going to be where my wing is on my plane. So let's play around with this. What if I went and made this 80? What will that do? Oh, look at that. It went way up. Okay, so we're just going to kind of play around with the different things. I'm going to click Done. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click File. I'm going to click Save. Now I'm going to click Save and enter competition. Jedi 1. All right, let it turn to normal. Then I'm going to go to competition. When I go to competition, my first plane is Jedi 1. And I want to fly it against the guy that I have to beat. All right, the guy that I have to beat is going to be, oops, I go here. I'm going to make this contender 1. And I need to beat Jar Jar Binks. Let's see where Jar Jar Binks is. Jar Jar Binks in here? Let me search for it. Yep, there's Jar Jar Binks. I'm going to click on it, and that's going to be contender 2. So now I'm going to fly my Jedi 1 against Jar Jar. And let's see how he does. Jedi 1's on the left, Jar Jar's on the right. Whoa. Now, Jedi 1 has already landed. And I thought I had a really good plane. Apparently, I don't. All right, so I need to go back to engineering, and I need to now go play with my other things. So the next thing I'm going to do, I got to play with my pitch. All right, the pitch is your horizontal stabilizer. Your horizontal stabilizer is this part right here. So I'm going to go to my horizontal stabilizer, and now I've got to mess around with my horizontal stabilizer. So I'm going to play around with these numbers, and I want to try to make my pitch as high as I can. So I need that arrow to go as far right, but notice it's going to the left. So, maybe I need to make it smaller. Will that make an adjustment? Oh, there we go. So I'm going to make it smaller. Well, what if I made it into this this section, right? The B-spline. And I might want to sand it. Remember, you got to click Apply. Okay, so my pitch is actually, I still got a ways to go with my horizontal stabilizer. So I'm going to continue to play around with this until I can get that arrow as far to the right as possible. And don't forget to be in here, and you want to click Save a working copy every now and then so you don't lose it. And you can just continue to do that. You're going to continue when you want to get that out. You click Done. You're going to work on your vertical stabilizer, and that's the vertical stabilizer is this part right here. So I'm going to be working with my vertical stabilizer because my vertical stabilizer is what adjusts the yaw. My yaw is way unstable. So I want to continue to mess around with that by moving around and adjusting the size of the wing, changing it. I might actually want to sand it. There, it's starting to come up. Once I make an adjustment, remember I'm going to go there, click Save a working copy, and I get out. You're just going to continue until you get this as far to the right as possible and you beat Jar Jar Binks, which is the bare minimum. To fly it in a competition, remember you go to File, Save and enter competition. You go to competition. It should already be queued up. Reset simulation. There's Jar Jar Binks, but my staged one is right here. And it should be, what, Jedi 1? There's Jedi 1. I'm going to make that my first contender. And I'm going to fly against Jar Jar. And then in my qualifier, there's Jar Jar. But what's really cool is you can actually fly it when it comes to time. You can actually fly it against anybody in the 6th grade. Right? So anybody that you fly, and there's still some people in there from last year, right? I can actually fly it against people from last year until they get deleted. So, but let's fly it against Jar Jar. There's Jar Jar Binks. Let's see if any of my adjustments have made any difference. And there they go. And I still got a ways to go. So I'm going to let them fly, let them land, and of course I'm going to go back to engineering, and I'm going to go back to the drawing board. So it takes a little while to get it perfect and get it good. I'll be around to help you, but that's just the basic beginnings of how to do this project. All right, I'll help you out. Have fun.